At the age of 13, I experimented with a guy for the first time, and I loved every minute of it. At the age of 14, I was outed in school. I tried to kill myself, and none of the attempts worked. Later that year, I tried smoking weed for the first time and drinking. At the age of 15, I started to self-harm myself real bad, burning myself and cutting my legs up, where no one would see. I also learned which pills can get you high and which can't. At the age of 16, I tried acid for the first time. I overcame the self-harm and depression I was struggling to deal with and was no longer bullied as much at school. At the age of 17, I spent the whole summer drugged up on a mix of different hallucinogens, and to this day I still can't recall anything that really happened the whole summer, as if someone just ripped that chunk of memory from my head as a cruel joke. At the age of 18, I was one of the more popular kids in school. I was making money from work. I had had 3 boyfriends by this time, and accepted myself for me. I had also tried smoking crack. At the age of 19, I moved out of my parents' house and lived in 3 different locations. I also tried heroin and got hooked immediately. So the year 2010, I got hooked to heroin, which was a downward spiral of drugs, unprotected sex, criminal charges, and multiple overdoses, as I was informed of in rehab. On August 8th, 2010, I was arrested for burglary. I spent a few days in jail before being released. I was also called a waste of oxygen by the people I robbed, which I deserved to hear. March 2011, I entered myself into rehab. While in rehab, I had a chance to sober up and take a look at my life. It was then I noticed something interesting. I started using the drugs as my depression got worse. The more drugs I did, the less depressed I was. But the depression was caused from me being unable to accept myself. So, to accept my sexuality, I turned to drugs? So I spent the better part of rehab learning to accept myself for who I was. I experienced a drag show for the first time and loved it while secretly wishing it was me on the stage in such beautiful clothes. Just years before, I was that guy who was gay and homophobic towards feminine guys. On October 22nd, 2013, I received a letter that helped close a dark chapter of my life. I was off probation and done with rehab. I spent the rest of that year exploring who I am, and just enjoying the fact I was out of the court system. That brings us to 2014. And this year, I figured out something very important about myself, and I'm ready to tell the world. I've made many videos saying these 2 words, and each time I delete the footage out of fear that I won't be accepted. I'm transgendered. For me to realize who I am, I had to hit rock bottom, so without the heroin addiction, I would probably still be using today and unaware of who I really am. We live in a day and age where acceptance shouldn't even be something we need to worry about. We shouldn't have to be afraid of who we are. Hell, coming out of the closet shouldn't even be a phrase or a thing. Coming out of the closet should just mean exactly how it sounds. Hey, I just came out with some rad clothes. I wonder what I want to wear today. Everyone should just accept each other because the world would be one step closer to a beautiful place if we did. As for you, I hope you got the message of my story. It's acceptance, and not just acceptance from others, but also self-acceptance. It took me 10 years to realize who I was and accept it instead of hide it. If you're wondering, currently I have no plans to transition due to money and personal health. I'm also just kind of happy that I'm able to admit to myself and everyone else of who I really am. Please share this video so its story can be heard by many so that maybe, just maybe, it can help someone out who is struggling with the same issues. If you have any questions about my life, the story, or just anything in general, leave them down in the comments, and maybe I'll do a Q&A video if I get enough questions. I'm Ryan Necra, and thanks for listening.